Your nest mate, buddy?
Right.
You sure?
Yeah, it's taking me a minute.
And it looks like we're live on YouTube.
Okay, it's 6:00 p.m. Thursday, July the 2nd, 2020. This is Westmoreland City Council work study session. We would like to welcome you to it. The executive order number 51, because of the COVID pandemic being on the increase, we have gone back to the Zoom meeting. So at least for the month of July, we will be doing it this way. So next regular meeting, we will have a month of July of an ordinance for rezoning. So we may have to do things just a little bit different.
Hey, Aaron, can you turn your phone up?
You get some feedback from somewhere. Do things just a little bit different.
Hey, Aaron, can you turn your phone up?
Okay, we good to proceed?
I think so.
Okay, you're getting feedback from your end, Keisha. I don't know if it's the other units that's in there with you. They may have to mute until they speak.
Okay.
Okay. The first item on the agenda tonight is the final bill for Ricky and Adeline Brummett. You have the information that they submitted. Basically, they had service from May the 15th until June the 1st, which was 18 days. And when they received their final bill after they had the water cut off, when they moved, they received the minimum bill. And they are asking that the council prorate that they only used it for the 18 days and they felt like it only should be half of the bill. City Hall told them that they did not have the authorization to do that. They were going to appear before the council tonight to discuss it, but being that it is a Zoom meeting, they said that we could just carry on and they would be watching on YouTube. So I'll hand it off to you for discussion.
Keisha, you got any, what do we normally do? Just give us a little background.
I don't think we've ever adjusted anyone's bill to just a half month. I mean, they just pay the minimum.
Yeah, when I talked to Debbie, she told me the same thing, so.
Okay, does anyone want to add that to the agenda to pass on it for regular meeting or just deem that the bill is due?
Can you repeat that, Mr. Mayor? Okay, I was asking, does anyone want to make a motion on that to bring it before the council for regular meeting, or do they want to just want to deem that the bill is due?
Well, if that's been our past practice, I don't see how we can change it just for them. So I think we'll let them not carry forward.
Any other comments? Okay, the next item on the agenda is multiple services through a single meter. Andy has joined us. Andy Leaf has joined us tonight for our meeting because he asked that this be brought before the city council, and
here once again, this is something that is a utility commission board that you're responsible for. Andy, if you'd like to unmute, you have the floor.
Okay, I'm making this request. It was brought to our attention that, of course, Chris and I built a new house and the old residence is still on the same water meter. Currently, my mother and father-in-law are living in that until they build their house. The intent is to not have two residences on the same meter, but I'm asking the council to allow me to do it for at least 9 months. And then if something happens in that end of that 9 months, I'll keep you guys updated on it. This request is being made in accordance with section 18-112 of the Westmoreland Municipal Code. So the code does allow for this, or does allow for me to make this request to the city council.
Someone like to add it to the agenda?
Yes, I'd like to put it on the agenda, please.
Very good. Do you have any questions about it in the meantime?
Andy, I've got one. Is the 9 months, are they gonna be no longer there and you're gonna do something with your old trailer, or how's that gonna work?
I told Keisha when we discussed this, the intent is not to have anybody live there, Mr. Brown. I'm assuming that Kenny and Kathy can get the house built in 9 months, but if we approach the 9 month mark and I'm still not, they're ready to move out, then I'll come back to you all.
Sure.
They've been in since the 1st of June. So I guess, if you want to make it 9 months from the time of the next meeting that you have, or 9 months retroactive back to June, either way I'm fine with.
All right.
So you'll still just pay one bill for the total amount you use. Is that what you see happening?
No, if you'll read code, section 18-112 of the code, it gives specific instructions as to how we will be billed. And essentially, it's just like billing it like it was 2 meters.
Okay.
Except 1 meter or have a minimum bill.
One residence will have the minimum bill, and then I'll be responsible for the remainder.
Yeah, I thought that was right. I just
Okay.
want to make it clear.
But this is something that the code allows for, and it spells it out how to treat it. So this is not a special request, so to speak, here, that the code's pretty plain on it.
Thank you for bringing that to us instead of just going ahead and doing it. We appreciate that very much.
Well, I can't lie to you. I went ahead and did it because I didn't really know the code existed. So
Yeah, but you found out that you need to look
Aaron
at
brought
it.
it to my attention, and we promptly took care of it as soon as he let me know.
Thanks.
And this is not going to be a permanent deal. Once they're gone, the intent is to disassemble the mobile home and move it.
That's the intent.
I'd like to know how you pulled that one off with Sumner County. They made me tear one down before they would allow me to put a second residence on a plot. So that was a good move there.
Well, so it's not on the same plot. It's actually, we tracked off a different track for the new house. So the mobile home is on a different tract of land than the house.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I
They
knew
would let me do it.
they gave me a pretty hard time over it.
Yes. Now we went ahead and tracked off a separate track for the house. I don't think the GIS maps are updated yet, but the new house is on its own tract of land.
Okay. Well, we'll have it on the agenda for regular meeting to be voted on. We appreciate your time joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the trash cans on Park Street. Mr. Bennell, go ahead.
Yeah, it's probably a little bigger than that, but we'll start there. Of course, most of you participated in the GNRC meeting this week, and we talked quite a bit about beautification and what would attract businesses and residents, to come to a town. That trash can bothered me because it's just sometimes almost overflowing right on the main Main Street. And apparently, Mayor, you got that moved, and I was glad to see that. It, like I say, it's bigger than that. If you ride around town, 95% of people do what the ordinance says. They put their trash cans back behind the house after the trash is picked up. That's what the ordinance says do. And I'm sure you could point out some places. I can. There's one place they have 6 trash cans laying out all the time. They never take them back. They just leave them. There's one on 31E, which is main drag right through town. And to be honest, when Tim was here, he got things cleaned up on that some, but it's back just like it was. And of course, it's bigger than that. Some people, in addition to having the trash out front, they build these boxes out front where they're there all the time, and they could eventually overflow and be an eyesore. So, and then when I drove through town, because I drive through town regular, but I noticed somebody has just put some plastic trash cans down through town, which is not very, again, doesn't look very good to me. So I think we need to educate people what our expectations are, what the ordinances are, communicate it on Facebook and our website. And many times people don't know. They think, well, it's just convenient. And then, but I think that's the first approach that we need to take. And then if you read the codes, it's not much penalty for it if they do it. So if you look at our codes, they go back to 1978. So at some point in time, some of this needs to be looked at. So the real issue was the trash cans on the corner of City Hall, and then the plastic trash cans that belong to somebody that they put on the sidewalks down through town. And then people accumulating their trash cans and leave it at the road all the time. So that's just my feelings. It's a distraction, I think, to me.
I brought it to talking about those plastic trash cans on Park Street. There in front of the senior citizens and on down toward Rita, the flower shop. I have talked to Amanda about that. And I have personally seen that gentleman that bought those 2 side rooms from Mike Williams use those trash cans when he was hauling stuff in and hauling stuff out of there. I have with my own eyes and saw that. And then he left those shopping carts up there. So Amanda got him to move those shopping carts, but he says those trash cans don't belong to him. And I've had Rita at the flower shop complain about those cans as well. So if he says they don't belong to him and he was using them, then I think the city has the right to move those cans if no one knows where they came from. And they are very much of an eyesore.
Other comments?
Let me go, since we're kind of into this is kind of stressed a little bit. But another thing that you and I see are people will not mow their yards, and there's fields that actually are like a lot. Amanda spends so much time just asking people to do the right thing and to do the mowing. And again, I think this is a communication thing that people need to understand. It's expected to mow their fields and their yards and whatever. I just think she has to spend a lot of time on that when she could spend time on something else. Now, in this case, there is, she cites somebody, they got 20 days to fix it, and then they can come to the court. It's really a long, drawn-out process. I mean, the weeds might be a foot high when she cites them, and the time we get through the process, they may be 18 inches high. I don't know, but this is 2 issues that does not, they're distractors to our city's beautification. And while I'm talking, I had another lady call me about the street. What's the street behind the Methodist Church? Who knows the streets that well?
Walnut.
Okay.
North Walnut.
Yeah, she called me about that. She was kind of upset over there because, you know, there's mattresses laying out, you know, beside the road. And I did drive down through there, and there are there's things in there that look to me that need to be cleaned up. So while we're talking about codes, I just thought I'd get it out to everybody. And I think Amanda's doing all she can do, you know, to try to beautify the city.
I believe that the city council needs to seriously look next year when they are working on the budget to see about purchasing one of those trucks with a claw on it, so that we have the equipment to pick up items like that. It could come out of a sanitation fund because it is a sanitation function, and get a route started possibly once a month. I know, but I'm thinking in Gallatin, they can call into the department and they let the department know about it. And once they go through, they have, I don't know if they have scheduled days, but they do it, or it's a regular schedule for them, but they'll take it through and pick up all sorts of things, including brush and tree limbs, which that would be a big benefit for some of our citizens. One thing that I've been looking at, Councilman Bennell, is the fact that some of those businesses on Park Street do not have access to the rear. I had considered maybe we could discuss it with the business owners there, or the property owners, to see how many more that we could move toward the back of the building. And that's something I've tried to do the last few days, but are you wanting to make a motion that we put something on the agenda to move forward, or just continue to raise awareness at this point and try to let people know?
Well, at this point, I'd rather Keisha just communicate some of these things on an ongoing basis on Facebook and their new website. Not the ordinance is too wordy. I think she would just have to get what the real meaning of it is and post that. And I think that's our first thing, is what you're doing, asking them to move it to the back if they can, and then communicate. So I'm not ready to put it on the agenda at this point in time.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, the next item on the agenda is the police chief candidates. Ms. Frida, you're down for that one.
Well, I think it's because I mentioned it last time. I know Keisha put all of 4 of ours candidates together, and we had all of us had 6 of the same candidates, and then 2 had 2 more alike. So she made copies of 8 candidates' applications. Is that correct, Keisha?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So we just need to decide on when we're going to interview, or when we're going to discuss these 8 applications, and maybe even narrow it down even lesser than that to interview. I just wanted out there in the forefront so that we could go on with the process.
Well, I think
we're open for discussion on it.
I would think it would be good if we could meet and cut it down to at least 4, maybe 3, just by interacting with each other and discussing, and then set up the interviews after we do that.
I agree on that, but I don't agree on the number, because we've got too many good applications here to narrow it down to 3 to interview. I would like to see us interview at least 5 if possible. And
I'm good with that.
that's my thought.
I just picked a number. You could interview 5 people in one night.
And I'm in agreement with that also. I think 5 would be a good number.
I think we need to talk about the venue also, how we're going to interview. I know a lot of companies, including Sumner County Schools, other affiliations, organizations are using this venue, Zoom, to conduct interviews. It's not ideal, but it is a valuable tool in this time. So we need to strongly consider when and where. Are we going to stretch this out through the month of July? Or are we going to go ahead and begin the interview process this month so that we can begin to vote on this? I'm ready to personally get this behind me. I know, I think the rest of you are too.
I'll agree with you, Doug. I'm ready to get it behind us, and I like to move forward and maybe do the interviews by Zoom if necessary. And I think it would be necessary.
I don't know that we have a choice given the circumstance that we're in now. And the fact that we're Zooming, I don't know that we can meet in person. Ideally, like I said, it would be great, but it's going to be hard to do that. But Zoom does give the candidates the opportunity to maybe be more flexible. So if we gave them a week or so to prepare, I think that they would probably be able to make that happen as opposed to meeting in person. So maybe give them less time to interview, but because we're doing it on the Zoom platform, maybe they can go ahead and take that opportunity.
So step 1, we got to get from 8 to 5.
Yes.
Not necessarily. It's whatever the group comes up with. Do we want to have a special meeting where we're just going over these applications? Or what are we going to do there?
I think we can talk about them on a Zoom call. We'll all have them in front of us. So I would think we could eliminate some of them that way.
I'm willing to do that if that gets us, if we can all each go through it, we can talk about it openly, as long as we're transparent about it. And then we can begin the interview process right after that.
I would remind you that any 2 councilmen can call a meeting at any time. So if there's some of you that have a set time that you're available for that and want to go through those, the ball's in your court.
How many days do we have to give notice, Mr. Mayor?
I don't know that the executive order told a number of days. If it's an emergency meeting, I've always leaned toward 3 days. So if you post it and do that and call a special call meeting, and I think you're okay. The executive order just says we have to be transparent.
Right.
So do we want to set up something next week? Because of what's the will of the body?
I would like something next week to go over the applicants and then make the next, because we've got to make that process happen first before we can interview. So
Right.
good with that.
I can't on Thursday night. I know that's the only night that I cannot. Is Chandra on with us tonight?
Yeah.
Kim, can you not see me?
Oh, I'm on my phone. I can only see the one speaking.
Oh no, I'm here.
Oh, hey.
I'm good. Any of those nights next week. But yeah, I think we need to get this rolling.
Yep, Tuesday night be fine with me.
I'm good any night.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere.
And we can do this like at 4 o'clock in the evening. Right?
We can set it whenever we want to, as long as we communicate it.
The only
Anything
thing
other
now,
than, I'd say anything other than a regular meeting, you could do that. But we had an awful lot of comments come back about not having the meetings at the regular time. So I would say your regular meeting and the work study meeting needs to be at the appropriate time as we listed in our resolution back at the first of the year.
Okay.
okay, here's a thought. City Hall is closed tomorrow. It's one of their legal holidays. So unless we can come up with a way to get the notice out tomorrow, then we won't meet the deadline by the 7th.
Can we go ahead and call a meeting during this platform?
If Keisha can go ahead and get it on the Facebook pages and it's going out on YouTube as we speak, if she can get those printed out and post it at the post office, the city hall, and regular places that we put those, I think you'd be okay.
I guess the next question is, how soon can we see the resumes?
Did you not pick yours up?
No, he did not.
Let me tell you what's happening. When I get something from westmorelandtn.gov, it goes to junk. And where the mayor's, well, anybody sends it that way. I'm not getting them, so I didn't see it, but I would like to have them.
I think I sent it through text.
I got mine through text.
Yes, I did too.
Let's see what my excuse will be now.
Keisha, you add me to the list for calling a special call meeting.
Okay.
Yep, that sounds good.
What
6
time did we say
o'clock.
we're gonna do it at?
Say again.
Do what?
What time?
I think 6. Is that correct? Is that where we have to go with 6? Correct.
And we don't have to call, I don't think.
I'm good with.
But I'm good with
Yeah, I'm good with whatever.
6 o'clock, Tuesday, July the 7th. Special call, work study to review police chief applications.
There you go.
All right, I'll get it posted.
And it's called by David Leith and Doug Brown.
Brown. Yes, ma'am.
I don't see a text from Keisha.
It was titled City Council. She sends it to the City Council.
But it's from her, right?
Yes.
Right.
Well, I don't have it, but that's okay. I just
Mine
need-
came through the group text we had for invitation for the GNRC. So it didn't have Keisha's name to it when it came through my text, just letting you know that.
And mine comes through by 1-97392.
Yes, that's what mine showed too.
Okay.
Are y'all having a problem with David's sound?
Yes.
brief-
I was getting ready to say the same thing.
Keisha, are you at City Hall? I assume you're
Yes,
at City
sir.
Hall. Is there any way I could pick that up after the meeting?
Yes, because I'll stay here to type that up and print it out. So I'll be here for a bit.
I'll come right after the meeting. Thank you.
All right.
Keisha, it would be great if you could go ahead and put together that notice and put on the front door too while you're there.
Yes.
Then we would
Yes.
be sure to be correct.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do.
Thank you.
Okay, Vice Mayor has already stated it. There will be a special call meeting on the 7th at 6 o'clock p.m. to review the police chief applicants' applications for finalization to do interviews. The next item on the agenda is the cell tower antennas. What I have there is I discussed this with Aaron. Verizon is having a lot of interference with the antennas that are on the tower now. Even they've been moved once. So now we're making arrangements to have those moved again, but we had to contact the owners of the antennas, and I think one of them belongs to Tri-County and the other one belongs to Ivan Davis. So that is in process right now. And as of this time, they have that site turned on, but I guess they had to turn it back off because of that interference. So I just wanted to give you an update on that. The next item on the agenda was the capital request that Chief Jenkins made for the fire engine. This came out last time, but he was unable to attend the meeting, and we put it on the work study so that he would be here to bring it to you. Chief Jenkins.
You're going to have to unmute it, Mark. There's a mute button at the bottom of the screen.
I'm trying and it won't let me.
I think he's got it unmuted on his end.
Here, how about?
There he goes.
Ah, he's got it.
Oh, he doesn't have a microphone.
I'm no good at reading lips.
Mark, we're not able to hear you, buddy.
Call me, we'll put you on speakerphone.
Call Keisha.
Okay, now you can talk.
A lot of backseat. Can you hear me now?
We hear you about
That's not gonna
twice.
Okay, can y'all hear him?
Let me mute this. I'm hearing
Pretty rough.
you. Hear me now?
I got you. Barely.
I put this together. See what we have.
I can't hear.
No, it's not doing much good that way.
Hear me now?
Yes,
Better?
yes.
Okay. Put this together so you can kind of see what the fire department has on the capital outlay and the expenses. So, it looks like, we're buying we can use for 20, at least 20 years. Some things more than.
I can't understand the word he's saying.
You understand that, Frank?
Are you at the fire hall?
No.
Okay, what I'm gonna suggest is that we hold off on this particular item until the next work study. Because it is an important item to discuss, but it's not anything that's going to, what I'm saying is I don't think it's something we've got to act on at our next meeting. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me and let me know. We've received a report from Mark. So is there any questions about his monthly report that you want to ask Mark specifically while we have him? Does that sound okay to you, Mark? Okay, I see him nodding yes, so we'll pick that back up, and we are keeping it on the front burner, so not to worry. Next item on the agenda is the IRC codes, and Amanda had inquired about that, and I think Councilman Bennell had inquired about it. But let's open that up and talk about it just a little bit, and then we'll see what's being said about it. Tony, why don't you take it away next, because Amanda's not going to be able to make it with us.
Well, she just told me that she didn't have a book. She couldn't copy things off the computer. She actually needed the physical book. I think she checked on the price of them, where she'd actually have it as a resource. I don't remember what she said. It's less than $1,000, I'm pretty sure. But she had a situation a couple of weeks ago that she needed to print it out, and she couldn't do it. So I think this will give her the tools that she needs to do her job. So I think we need to go ahead and order those. I don't know this for sure. What year are we operating under, Mayor? Do you know that?
We've not actually adopted. We're working under the International Building Code, and we may reference some of that code. But that's what I wanted to discuss. I wanted to get all the council members how they feel about all of this. When you adopt that code, and the council would have to adopt it, you would need to pick the sections of it that you want to adopt, what you feel is enforceable, and what would be needed for Westmoreland. What I told Amanda was that it's in our city code now that we have a copy of the International Building Code at City Hall at all times. So we just adopted the 2015 International Building Code, in March or April. So we need to get a copy of that in. So that's, I'm sure that's probably pretty close to $1,000. And we need that one actually before we need the residential code. And then the council needs to discuss as a body if they want to adopt the residential code, and then what sections of it that they want to adopt to set forth for our city. Now, Stacy Trout wrote a pretty good document for the city of Lafayette when he was working there as their codes person. So I think he's forwarded a copy of that to Councilman Bennell. All the councilmen may have it. He sent me a copy. So if there's there's things that's even in VIT that may or may not be acceptable for the city of Westmoreland. And that's kind of why I was wanting to get an input on it and us discuss it. And Amanda said that she wasn't going to be able to be here. So, it may be something that we want to at least table to next month's meeting.
But what I heard her, I'm getting mine secondhand, but I guess she had discussions with Mr. Mills, and he was under the impression that we already were under this code. He said we had voted on it at some point in time. I don't know, but I think you're right. I think we need to go ahead and get the building codes in, and then let her come back next month and explain it a little more. I agree.
Okay, now I've already authorized Keisha to go ahead and order us a set of those, and it'll probably take a little while to get them in with the pandemic, but we get them in, it'll be a minimum of a 2-volume set. And basically what those are for, if we had a codes person that was employed by the city, we would need 2 sets of them. They're supposed to have a set, and also there's a set for City Hall for individuals that want to reference that code, that it is there for them when they walk in the door and ask for it. Or if a codes person cites something, then they have that book to come back to as a reference to get clarification on what they need to do. But I believe Mr. Mills is right. I think basically what the part of the code that we did adopt was dealing with items like swimming pool fences and things like that, that was necessary. Otherwise, you were going to have to put alarms on your swimming pools and updated fences, things like that. So that's what I said. If we go to adopt that code as a whole, you're going to need someone that knows what they're doing to go through it and look at it, but that can do that. So
let me make a comment, Mayor.
Okay.
Stacy did mail me the same thing that you got, that he did in Macon County. And some of the stuff I don't think would work here. We'd have to go through that. And the reason I didn't send it to everybody, because of working on the budget, working on the police chief, I felt like we had enough on our plate to do right now. But here's what Stacy said. He said, I will volunteer my time. I'll come and meet with y'all and help y'all if you want me to. So we'll keep that in our hip pocket when we get back to it, and see if he'll help us out.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mayor, do you think the building codes and the residential codes, does it overlap one another somewhat? Or is there quite a bit of?
I don't believe that they do. Honestly, I don't know, because there are so many, and Mark can tell you, there are so many code organizations and reference organizations. You've got the NFPA, you've got the International Building Codes, you've got the Continental Building Codes. There are so many of these organizations, and they all want you to adopt their codes and pay the money to be members of their organizations, and it can get rather hectic at times. Especially,
Buy their manuals.
Especially if you're trying to attend all of their meetings, to go to their conventions, you'll spend more time on the West Coast than you will in Tennessee.
Mark also said that he needs to get the 2012 International Fire Code book as well.
Okay.
2012 or 2015?
I think we actually adopted the 2015. So it's probably just a typo in his text.
By the look on his face, I'm not real sure.
Mark can't defend himself.
2015, Mark?
And also, I got a message from someone else, and she said there's the number that like he could call if he wants to talk, like call from his regular phone. He can call in.
Well, it's probably, we got time to talk about it next time.
Okay.
Don't want to frustrate him anymore.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is, we kind of discussed it at our last meeting, an update for policies and procedures, an amendment to it to do a 6-month probation, move that from 90 days to 6 months. Of course, you heard Mr. Bradley say that he wasn't opposed, that some organizations had a 1-year probation. Now, we're still giving all of our benefits and everything after 90 days, but this just extends the probationary period. So when you have a new hire that comes in, that you can see their behavioral patterns, how they work, how they work with the public, how they work with their coworkers and things like that. So wanted to get your opinions on it tonight.
After 30 days, is that right? 30 days to get benefits? Or
90.
No,
90
90.
days, 90 days?
90.
I wouldn't be opposed to a 1 year probationary period.
But we would keep the benefits at 90 days, right?
Yeah, right.
Correct.
So the period right now is what?
90 days. $90 days for benefits, 90 days probation.
Mr. Bradley had said, some say 6 months and then they extend it to a year. So I mean, is that possible? Like, once you say 6 months, can it be extended?
Well, if you have an employee that has disciplinary trouble, that is pretty much a standard practice that you don't allow them to become a permanent employee until they're on an acceptable level of knowledge and work aptitude. Maybe other things figure into that also, but I have known in places that I've worked in the past, and I'm sure everyone else has too, that let's say it was a 6-month probation and they had a couple of maybe minor infractions, not really serious, but they were on the edge of it, extending that to the 1 year. Our problem is that the city of Westmoreland does not have a system set up where they do 30, 60, 90, 180 day and 360 day evaluations to push that forward. So our policy and procedure manual is pretty much our document that we follow. So I would suggest that the council, if they do want to make this change and move it from 90 days to another amount of time, that we go ahead and settle on that time period and go ahead and write it into the ordinance.
I'm good with 6 months.
Can we go ahead and put that on the agenda to move it to 6 months to vote on it?
Yes, sir. And that will be ordinance number 072020-1. Councilman Brown, you're up next. This came from our meeting the other day about with the City of Westmoreland slogan. What we've been using up to this point was a city moving forward. So I'm under the consideration that we need a change.
Well, I just wanted to bring up the possibility to look at maybe adopting a new slogan, revitalize something. And not sure when the slogan came up originally, but I know that I've heard it maybe a couple times since I've been on the council, and I don't know that I've heard it any prior to that. And so it came up, we were talking about it the other day when GNRC, when Michael Skipper asked Mayor Kirkham a question about it and what our slogan was, and that came on, and it kind of gave me the idea to maybe to begin to look at to see what our possibilities were, and if we were interested in adopting a new slogan, something more modern. And I'm not sure how old this one is, So I want to hear from the mayor and you guys to see if that's something that's been recently adopted. But I would love to maybe get a committee together with some citizens. I'm willing to do that. Maybe have a survey in the paper, or maybe a contest that we maybe can get some slogans brought forth and begin to get the just the thoughts generating about looking at a new slogan, and have the stamp of our citizens in that slogan is my number one theme. And so I wanted to hear what you guys thought, if that's something that you would be interested for me to push forward. But that's what my ideas. Again, create a committee with myself. I'm willing to head that committee, incorporate some citizens, and then also involve our Facebook page and the newspaper to maybe have some people generate some slogans that they might want to see. And then we, as a committee, we can take those recommendations and then either put a slogan together through all those recommendations, or we may find one that's out there that someone says and it's just beautiful. So I just wanted to kind of get that ball rolling and hear your thoughts on that.
Hey, you no doubt have hit on a very interesting proposition there and brought forth a proposal that would, I feel, would be very good. The charter authorizes me as mayor to appoint committees. So I hereby appoint you as the chairman of that committee. And if you would like to ask, well, it kind of gets in a conflict. If you ask another council member to serve with you, you have to follow the open meetings law then.
Right.
But if you want to get me the names of the citizens that are interested in it, I will go ahead and do a formal letter formation of the committee. And honestly, I think there's probably no one on the council that wouldn't agree that we need to update. We have a new website, we got a new Facebook page. We are definitely changing some things. So I would say go ahead and make that happen, and then bring the recommendations back to us. We've got a lot of talented people in this community, especially students, that have some great ideas. And anyone else that would like to speak to that, go ahead. Now's your opportunity.
Mayor, I can tell you where that moving forward came about. It never was voted on as a slogan per se, but back when Tim Farley put together a little logo emblem to put on letterhead and whatnot, he just put that phrase "moving forward" in that, and it's just stuck with us. But as far as it being formalized, it was not. It was something that was just captured in the logo, and it's just went on since then, but it never was legally adopted.
Does anybody know if the Chamber of Commerce ever attempted to do a slogan or anything like that in the past?
Yes, they have one now, I'm pretty sure. Working together in the community. It's on the back of these car show shirts I got. I don't know what it says, but yeah, they have one.
But it's not, it was more adapted toward their interest for making Westmoreland a better commerce area, not so much the city itself, correct?
Well, it could probably both ways. I'll shoot it to you after the meeting.
Okay.
That probably would be a good idea, to have one of the board members from the
Yes.
chamber on the committee, Doug.
I just thought of that would be. Well, I will have a committee hopefully soon, and then I will update you guys on the next work study. I don't know that I'll have anything done between now and the next regular meeting, but I'll definitely have a committee together with some thoughts by next time. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman Brown. I appreciate your work on that and your vision on it. So and taking the lead on that so fast. And I knew that the slogan was very in place when I became mayor. So it's been there for a few years now, but we are definitely moving forward, and the committee may decide that that's what we want to stay with. You never know.
That's right.
The next item on the agenda is follow up on the Carter House at 1203 Locust Street. Councilman Ben.
Yeah, this all started as an eyesore, and I won't go into all the details, but I guess just refresh your memory, we found out that the family thought they had given it to the city, and there was nothing ever made that formal at all. So Amanda's been involved. Mr. Bradley, I was hoping he would be on the call tonight, but it's an eyesore, and we need to get it in our possession. I think y'all know every spot in Westmoreland that they can build a house. They want to build a house. They're building one down below me on Rainbow Circle. So I was hoping Mr. Bradley would be with us. So I'll get with him and see the status. But we need to get that resolved. It is the eyesore, and I think it could be turned into something that could look a whole lot better than that. So I'll get back with you on that.
Okay, I didn't, when you first started talking, I didn't know if you were going with the option that the city should take it and then tear it down, or if, I didn't know where you were going with that at first.
Well, that'd be up to this body. I think we could tear it down if we wanted to, and then add that to the selling price. We could auction it off. I mean, I don't know, but I think we need, because there's some more heirs involved besides just the two boys here. We think of Gerald Grant, but I think that others involved, and that's what Mr. Bradley was going to have to research some more.
Okay. I'm not aware of all the circumstances on it. I know that the taxes are at least one year in arrears now. So,
well, I think Stella owned the house with her sister, maybe, and that kind of complicates things a little bit. That's why you have to get an attorney involved. So that's what Mr. Bradley is working on.
Okay, I've got to ask the question: if we were just going to sell it and have it torn down or tear it down and then sell it, why doesn't the family go ahead and sell it and take the profit off of it? Just don't want to fool with it.
I don't know. I could ask. Maybe they didn't even consider that. I don't know. I could say something to Gerald.
Okay, because you're correct. It would have to be brought before this body and a vote to accept it before anything could happen. And that's kind of how I knew that the house wasn't ours. So
right.
So are you asking to defer this to next month, or how do you want to handle it?
Let's defer that.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is rezoning for 1209 Mill Street. We're going to be bringing that up for a second reading at our next meeting, and also there will be a public hearing. I know there's been a lot of information that has been passed about that. Councilman Ben will ask some of the differences in the R1 and R2 zone, and basically going through those now. I don't know if Andy's still on here or not. Andy has worked a lot with the codes of several of the counties or cities around Sumner County. But basically what I'm seeing as the difference between, we don't have a high density population platform. So we have a low and medium. So our medium is actually high. So we have low and high. And with rezoning from R1 to R2, you can allow single wide mobile homes. It says separated. let me read exactly what it says. Detached dwellings. And I'm taking detached dwellings, meaning something like townhouses or maybe multiple. It says that if I think I read it, and it said that they couldn't go over 35 feet or 3 stories high. Any of you that want to read this code, it is on the Westmoreland website. And it gives you all the information about what is there, what you can have with low density and medium density residential. So, but use is permitted. Everything that is allowed in R1 is allowed in R2 plus. Let me just read it, what it says about uses permitted in R2 medium density districts in Westmoreland. Single family detached dwellings, individual mobile homes, prefabricated dwellings, duplex dwellings, semi-detached dwellings. So let's see, and the next one says customary accessory buildings, including private garages, provided they're not at the rear and not closer than 5 feet to any lot line. And then number 7 is customary incidental home occupations as regulated under Article 4, Section 4.040. So basically what I'm reading into it, and I'm no zoning expert, and this may be something that you want to have our contracted zoning person discuss with you, is that it looks like you can have single wide mobile homes and townhouses as an addition there. So duplexes are already allowed in R1, so they can be built in R1 and R2, and then everything else after that point becomes commercial.
Well, I guess that concerns me a lot. Taking it to R2, a future state that, that could have single wides. I think single wides need to be in trailer parks, but that's what concerns me. I might call that lady. I'll get the number from you just to educate me a little bit. But I think the lady made a good point at the meeting. I don't know if how many of you took a ride down there. That house sits almost in the road. It looks like it's not over 10 foot off the road. And it is a very narrow road. And we're going to be, if we build this, we're going to be putting more traffic on there. So it's, I'm a little bit concerned about that.
Well, my understanding is the council has the authority to rezone. It's been zoned what it is now. I guess it's been zoned that since zoning regulations took effect in Westmoreland. But once it is rezoned, then the council doesn't have anything to say about it. If the developer builds what it is zoned for, then that is the only obligation that he has, that he can build to what the zone is. So if it's zoned to residential 1, low density, that's all that can be built on it, what is in those regulations. If you zone it for R2, which is medium, or in our case, high density regulations, then he can build for that. So basically, you're just saying what use that the land can have. And I also remember reading that in the R2 zone, part of that with individual mobile homes, I think I read that it said also that, yeah, here it is. I didn't turn the page. Number 8, cemeteries can be in that. Number 9, mobile home parks is regulated by Article 4, and attached dwellings is regulated in Article 4. it was very specific in our regulations of something that was prohibited was billboards and similar advertising structures. So one of the things that came out of our meeting the other day was maybe it's time for us to update our zoning regulations some more. And when that is done, the council will be the body that votes to accept those or not. So anyway, like I said, those regulations are on our website under zoning regulations, and I will shoot you that phone number right after the meeting, Tony.
Okay, thank you.
From that citizen's concern about widening that road, now it's my understanding he's going to tear down that house on the left that you were talking about that sits right in the road, and possibly building some other structure on that strip of land. So regardless of how the zoning goes, will the city need to start looking at widening that street, or what process do we need to take there? Because if you're going to have more residents back there, and it's already going to be because he's built a duplex already, is my understanding he can put another duplex beside of that one. So you're talking about 4 different residents right there in that one section. Then if he tears that old house down that sits right in the road, then you've got possibility of another duplex in there. So at what point do we start looking at the road situation?
First, let me point out that this is different developers doing different things. Where the duplexes have gone in already, they were zoned for that. R1 includes duplexes. So that was already zoned for that, and he could build to that, and that's what he done. When you go to R2, then you're upping it to medium density zoning. So that's where you take in the single wide mobile homes, mobile home parks. I call them townhouses. The book calls them detached dwellings. So I don't know if that means something that's got like a triplex. So I don't know exactly what it means, and he may be willing to tell you more of what his plan is when we go to our next meeting, because at the next meeting we'll have to have the public hearing before that can be voted on the second reading. But you know, our requirements do not require him to say what his plans are. The only requirement is that he builds to what the code is, what the zone is, and he has asked that it be rezoned.
So we're, excuse me. So you're saying that the 2 properties that I was talking about is owned by 2 different property owners? Okay. Even at that, my question was, when are we going to deal with the street situation?
You already need to deal with it. I mean, it's a city street that is in the city of Westmoreland. So, I mean, it's ours already.
Well, I know. Are we going to look at widening the road? Because it's very obvious that only one car can go down that road at a time. So if that's what we've got to do, where do we start? I know we're going to have some legwork done on it. So that's my question. Or is that something that you're going to wait and do after the development?
No, it's a very legitimate question. And like so many streets in Westmoreland, you know, it should have already been dealt with. And obviously you'd have to get Mr. Bradley involved in it to widen the street. Land would have to be purchased because I don't think there's any right of way that's available. The water lines are almost right on the street now. So it's no doubt it's going to take a lot to improve that area.
I think what you're also saying too, Frida, in a way, is that are we putting the horse before the carriage? Should we begin to look at restructuring that road so that potential new residential pieces can be developed, or new development can occur, or do we go ahead and let a development do what they do, not knowing what that may be, and then we have to go backtrack while we inconvenience that entire road. So that may be the answer to some of our questions when we begin to decide whether we're going to rezone this or not. Do we want to kind of put a stop to this so that we can put Mill Street on the agenda to begin to work on it and widening it like we want to? One of my questions also is what's the best case scenario for if we move this to an R2? What's the best case scenario? You mentioned townhouses, Mr. Mayor. Was that the best case scenario that you mentioned when you move from an R1 to an R2? Speaking on the developer, what's the best thing that he could do if we move to an R2 is what I'm asking.
Basically, if we move it to an R2, he can do anything that is allowed in an R2 district. You could ask for an exception and even build a church on it. So, I mean, there's just, with the exception of going through the book line by line, it's hard to tell, but obviously there is something that is wanting to be constructed or developed that is not allowed in a R1 zone, or he wouldn't be asking for the effort to change it. And normally changing a zone is not really that big a deal. It just becomes before the body. I think that since I've been mayor, this is the first request that we've had for something to come from an R1 to an R2. Usually it's an R1 or an R2 to commercial. They're usually looking to move it up. So this is kind of unique situation, and like I said, he's under no requirement to let us know, but if the council rezones the land, then he can build whatever's allowed in that zone. Now, with that said, also, what was everyone thinking when they made it an R1 zone back in, I think the date of that first ordinance was back in the 70s. So I had a document presented to me the other day that was the zoning ordinances from the early 70s. So I haven't had a chance to read them yet. I think they're going to be quite interesting.
So do you know what the planning and zoning were thinking when they recommended this change? Because this is a recommendation from the planning and zoning, right?
The recommendation from planning and zoning was to bring it to the council. The Planning and Zoning Commission cannot do any rezoning. They have to recommend it or refer it to the council. And the request was made, so they referred it to the council. Also, I'm trying to remember, Doug, you might can help jog my memory here. In the reply and the comments from Ms. Turner, I think that they did not actually make a recommendation. It was just to move it forward. we can get those from the planning and zoning commission meeting and have it available before we do second reading.
Yes, I believe that's correct, what you just said.
Best I remember, they said they were not making a recommendation for or against it, but
Okay.
we're just pushing it for, because ultimately the council is the only one that can make the change, and it's not up to the zoning commission to say, no, that can't happen. It's not in our authority.
But I understood from when he was speaking at our meeting, is if we don't change it, I don't know that he was going to build anything new. He was just going to fix what was there. So we need to take that in consideration. I haven't been down through there to look lately. So
That would definitely be an option for him. He wouldn't have to tear down anything that was there. For the life of me, I can't understand why he would pay the money to ask for rezoning if he wasn't going to do something. I mean, that's what developers do, and usually they make a lot of money doing it.
But I think it was if we didn't rezone it. He's like, well, I can do this. So
That's true.
So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Any other comments? Okay, that second reading will be on the agenda for our next meeting. And as I said, we're required by state law to have a public hearing on that. So that hearing will be scheduled just prior to the vote. The next item on the agenda is the Safety Partners Grant. Ms. Keisha has already started on that resolution. Go ahead, Ms. Keisha, if you have something you'd like to say about it.
That grant opened on June the 24th, and it's a first come, first served grant. So I actually went ahead and applied for it on June the 25th, and just have to send the resolution in once it passes. But I put that we would be using it for those man down alarms that we had talked about before. And then depending on the amount of money that we get from that grant, possibly like, you know, vests for the police department or something like that, because they're always needing those. So.
You did include the vest along with the man down alarms?
Yes.
Good.
That's probably going to take care of most of the amount that we would get. I believe those were about $1,200 a piece.
Correct.
Maybe a little bit more. I'm not sure how much of the programming and all and what else went with it, but that's a good move. And thank you, Ms. Keisha, for doing that. Also, I'm just going to toss this out while we're discussing grants. The grant that the governor and the legislature has presented to the cities, we were going to have to pass a resolution for that, and we was going to have to pick one of the 5 criteria that the money was going to go for. Well, before the legislature ended this session, they changed the rules of that grant. They're going to present the funds to each city. We can use it for anything that's the council's discretion. Of course, we have already budgeted ours for the CDBG grant, which was allowable before, but if something happens now and we don't receive the community block grant, then we can use those funds for other items. They're not restricted. But there's so many communities that's having so much trouble because of the pandemic. They kind of lifted that. Ms. Keisha, if you will be sure to be aware and watch, they said that a letter would come in anytime from yesterday during the next few days. I think probably with the 4th, it may be a little later, but we have to have that letter of agreement returned to the comptroller before July the 15th in order to qualify for this $83,000, I think it was $428 grant. So Ms. Frida's keeping a close eye on her emails. I'm keeping a close eye on mine. And if you would keep a close eye on those as well, we would greatly appreciate it.
Okay.
Anything you'd like to add to that, Ms. Frida?
No, you pretty well said it all that we spoke about.
Okay.
The main
Well-
thing is having to get the turnaround before the deadline of July the 15th.
Yeah, because they're going to start distributing those funds July the 31st. So we'd love to get that in the bank account.
Yeah, because all it's required of each city is to sign that letter of agreement, which is very simple.
Okay, the next item is the county bid on paving Johnny Trout Road. You all received the letter from Miss Judy Harden about that. We're open for discussion on it.
We haven't, or I know we had voted and we were gonna pave Sumner Drive. Like some of these that we already have lined, I thought that was getting pushed off. So I was wondering why we were getting a bid on this. I'd just like to know what's going on here.
I don't think we're getting a bid. I think she just gave us a bid. I don't think we requested a bid from her, did we?
Oh, okay, we didn't request this.
Yeah, from reading the letter and it's in your package right here if you got it. It looks like she's going to be paving the county portion, which when you come off of Coleytown Road, you have to drive, it turns from Coleytown Road onto Johnny Trout. The part that is very in the front is in the city, and then it goes into the county. I'm not sure how far down that road. I know there is a house back there on the right, and that house is outside of the city. It runs up to that property. So, but the property on the front of the road is in the city. I don't know that anyone had really had any considerations of it until the county brought it up. And basically she's saying while she's there paving the county part of it, she will pave the city part of it. The amount of the, I think was $12,000 plus.
12.5, I think, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah, it's 12.5.
Well, if I recall, this stem, I think Aaron brought this before the council when we were still in the meeting room, per the county's request that they would like to go ahead and get the front end of it paved and a new tile put in or something to that effect. But I have a hard time justifying spending this much money on a dead end street that we have no taxpayers on that area. So as much as needed inside the city on all of our roads, I have a hard time justifying that 12.5.
I agree.
I would say that the owners of the property there that are in the city would probably beg to differ with you. But still at that, I mean, if it was brought into the city, you know, it's supposed to have the same city services as everyone else, the street light, water availability, and of course, you hit the nail right on the head. We've got so many. We were just talking about Mill Street. Mill Street is a dead end road, but look how many residents will live on that. And you know, we're discussing how narrow those are, and of course, the council had Jimmy Hires do that road study a few years back. I think it was 3 years ago. that listed all of our streets and I think he actually prioritized them because I remember him saying Ray Street was the most needed street that was to be paved. And actually tonight, if we'd have been meeting in the chambers, a gentleman, Mr. Lawrence Andrews, was wanting to come and address the council about the deterioration of the streets over in that area. So I didn't catch Mr. Andrews' address, but I know he's over there somewhere in the Ray Street area. So he's definitely wanting to discuss with the council about some paving because most everyone that's heard anything about the budget process this year knows that you put back some money for paving. So now everyone's wanting to be in line for it.
But Mayor, when I saw this letter, again, what y'all have already said, there's nobody pays taxes on the road. We ain't got $12,500. Immediately, I don't know if y'all have ever been up East Border Street. That road, you need a 4-wheel drive to get up there. I'd encourage you. And there's 6 to 8 houses up there. They're paying taxes. So I can't see spending money down here when we got Mill Street, East Border Street, and we could go on and on. So
I can assure you there are city taxpayers on that road. but
they just don't live there.
But I'm not in agreement to paving it. I think we got worse streets are in dire need, and if we get all the other streets paved in the city, then this can be paved the very last one.
Honestly, if they asked the other day at that meeting about a magic wand, I'd love to. I've never been a proponent of borrowing a lot of money and doing a bond issue or anything, but I would almost put my imprint on the documents for us to get enough money to pave all the streets in Westmoreland because they need it so bad.
They need it very bad.
Yes.
But let Johnny Trout be the last one.
I look like a drunk lady. I look like a drunk lady driving down 031E. I have to dodge all those holes.
And you have to watch out for oncoming traffic because we're dodging them too. So
right.
Oh,
Well, school
okay.
bus is tearing that street up. Totally.
Well,
Can I ask a
between
question?
that and the log trucks and everything else, it has a lot of traffic on it.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question about, since we're talking about paving streets, which street, I know that the one that was the next project I thought was Sumner Drive. Where are we at on the next project? You know, this brings up a good point. What is the most needed street that needs to be paved? And I would love to see that list of the one that you spoke about, Mr. Mayor. And that may be something that we need to start talking about too. Like we have a list of so many streets and we just start going down them.
I know.
Problem with that, by the time we get to being able to pay some, that list is obsolete. All the other streets is worse. So I don't know that we can even go by that list that he did even 3 years ago.
Oh, they're just that much worse now.
Yeah.
Right.
I would like to, excuse me, Rogers Group will do a survey. They don't charge anything. Of course, they know they're going to probably sell some pavement, but I'd like to see Rogers take a look at our roads and kind of go up with a list anyway. Get a different set of eyes on it.
Because if they go by population of travel and look at all the other factors that goes into the worst, what's the worst criteria, they can maybe tell us what order we need to put our streets in. But I think we can start anywhere, and we're going to make some, we've got to start with some improvements. But some streets are obviously longer in distance than others, and it's going to require more money. So no matter what our budget looks like, it's going to eat right through that every single year. But, you know, I feel like we're just spinning our wheels. We're never getting anything accomplished with street paving. I couldn't tell you the last time I've seen a street completely paved. So it is frustrating, not only as a taxpayer, but sitting in this leadership role. I'm ready for something to be. I don't care if let's just pick a point somewhere. We got to have something started. Our taxpayers are tired of seeing nothing done, and the streets just keep getting worse. You know, if a list is from 3 years ago, that's not good either for us. What does that say about us? We've done nothing. So we've got to start somewhere.
Chandra lives on City Park Road. When was it paved? 2 years ago? 3 years ago? It's just before you came on the council.
Right. It was right before I came on council. So it's been about 2 years.
So that was the last road that was paved. It was 1.2 miles. And at that time, it was a cost of $82,200, I believe. And we did all the tile and the prep work for it. That was just the cost of the paving. Miss Harden did the paving for us, and they took care of the labor. We just paid for the materials. So that was just the materials to pave that road, and it's on a 12-year note. So we'll be paying for paving that road for 10 more years. And also with the note prior to that, it was for paving Coleytown Road, and Miss Freed, what was that? There was a couple more roads on that too.
Coleytown, and then from this Coleytown, from 031 down to the garage at 52. There was another street in there too.
North First, when it got paved, North First Street.
Not at the same time, I don't think.
Yeah, North First was in the paving prior to that, but I mean, it's come all to pieces now. You'd never know that paving equipment had ever been on it. So needless to say that paving is, it's almost like a living document. It's got to go on, and we've failed to take care of that in the past. We do not have enough state street aid money that comes in to us to be able to take care of that. And unfortunately, there's a lot of other cities that's in worse shape than we are. So I know that's hard to believe, but you know, really we're doing pretty good.
Now that the county won't do any more for us because of their workload, Aaron was supposed to get a couple of other quotes from Rogers and Scotty's maybe paving on some streets. And I don't know where that stands, but I'm like Doug. We got to start now. We've got that money in there to get it Sumner paved. We've already obligated ourselves to that. So we need to start this process going now.
Okay, and before Aaron jumps in about the bids, Councilman Brown, just to bring you up to date on that, the council has voted to, of course, you know, we've kind of hit a snag there because the county can't do the paving, the manpower side of it for us right now. Not to say that they came a little later in the year, but right now because of COVID, everything's upside down.
Right.
But the council has voted to already take care of that road. But we found out that there was like 120,000 that was in the CDBG grant for paving, because Sumner Drive is going to be, at least a portion of it is going to be torn up if we get the grant and they put in new sewer lines. So I think Locust Street, Aaron can help me on this, part of Sumner, Locust, all of that is in to be repaved, if a grant goes through. So we didn't want to, go there and do it and then have to turn right around and dig it up and pave it again.
Gotcha.
So, for once, us being a little bit, delayed it was a good thing.
Now, that grant's not covering the other side of Sumner Drive, just covering the town side of Sumner Drive. Is that right?
Uh,
Do what?
It'd be the north side of Highway 52.
Right. So
okay.
we can go ahead and get the other side paved. And that started showing.
Okay. There again, you'll have to get some new quotes because Ms. Harden said she couldn't do it anytime soon.
Ain't that what you've been working on, Aaron?
Yes, sir. I have 2 seal bids here. And I've been waiting on Rogers Group. I spoke with the gentleman and he let me know that I guess the guy that I had spoke to prior had gotten sick and has been off work, and he's having to take over for him now. And this was last week. And he said that he would try to have something by this Friday. I still haven't seen anything yet, but I'm hoping to maybe see something by the first of the week from Rogers Group. But right now I have Scotty's and DeWeese Construction.
What roads are those for? Sumner Drive and,
It's for Sumner Drive. And what I'm asking everybody to do is to give me a bid on what they would charge us price per ton laid. And that way we can kind of take that price and they can tell us approximately how many tonnage or how much tonnage it would take to pave a different road. Say if we wanted to pave another road, Old 31, Ray Street, Mill Street, something like that, they could work up a figure on how much tonnage it would take. And that way the city would know if they could afford to pave that road, or, or they can just pay for the tonnage that they can afford at that time. And the paving will just stop whenever the money's not there.
Would someone like to put that on the agenda for us to open those bids that are, well, I guess Keisha would have to open them there at City Hall and just tell us what they are at our next meeting.
I don't guess these bids include ditching and replacing any kind of tiles or anything like that, does it, Aaron?
It includes prepping the road, and that's cleaning the edges and things like that. I don't know about the tiles. I want to think that they said the tiles were included, but I would want to double check and make sure, because I know that we were talking about it as we were looking at the roads. And I was telling them that I could, the city, we could do certain parts of it if, to help cut costs and things like that, like installing tiles would be part of it and things like that.
Okay.
So we would get the cost down as low as we could, and be able to put more toward the actual paving.
Thank you.
yeah, I'd like to see it put on the agenda for our regular meeting, for her to go ahead and open those quotes and for us to discuss it at the regular meeting. And you can just title it paving quotes.
Okay, well, we're talking about paving. I guess one of the next items is Forest Drive. Tell me about what's happening with the hole that's over there down toward, is it Rainbow?
Yes, sir. We have fixed I guess you'd call it a sinkhole or a mud hole or whatever that had came into the road. And we've patched it to the best that we can. And it's drivable now. It's not a hole anymore, and it's solid. The driveway there where we had to cut out to fix the actual leak, I've called a contractor, a concrete person, and they're supposed to be coming over and repairing the driveway. And then once the driveway's repaired, there'll be a small, it's maybe a 1 by 2 foot hole. It's not even a hole. I mean, it's full of gravel right now, but that will finish patching with black rock after he gets the driveway fixed. But I can't fix that part of the road, which is just a small section. That's the only thing I can't fix until the driveway's repaired, because it would I would be in his way, or he would have to tear out what I put down anyway. So it's better to just go ahead and let him do the concrete, get it back to the order that it needs to be for the drive, and then fix the pothole. Which, I mean, I don't mean that this is I mean, this is something that happens quite often when we have to repair a water leak and it's under the road like this. It's not nothing unusual. I know I've gotten several calls and people have commented about it, but I just kind of want to let the council and everybody know that this is not something that's the city's been neglecting or nothing like that. It's just so happens that the part of the town that's in, it's just a lot of the people that live in the houses around there are very aware of everything going on, and they want to make sure that they stay on top of things. So I just want to make sure that nobody thinks that we're not doing it intentionally. When you have rain almost every day for months on end, it's hard for things to set back up and not be soft. So we've been waiting for dry weather and things to firm back up so we could go back in and fix it the right way. I mean, because it's no sense in us going in and throwing a bunch of stuff on it and, then it just making it worse and we have to come back and fix it again. So, we have to let the gravel pack back down and everything settle before we can actually go in and repair it. Otherwise, we'll just keep throwing money at it until, there's never an end to it at that point if you don't do it right. So, I mean, I seen it was up on the agenda to be talked about today. And, I mean, this is nothing that's not happened on several other streets and roads in the city. It's just been made aware of to everybody.
Yeah, I had it put on there. I phone calls. I just wanted to hear what you had to say, because I knew you had went and worked on it. So I wanted to hear from you though how it all had ended. So
Right.
So you have it. So it's been filled in with gravel, and I saw it's been patched. Correct.
Yes, we patched the big hole that was in the road, and then the driveway and where the actual line was at that was leaking is filled with gravel right now, but will be patched just as soon as they get the drive fixed.
Okay.
Do you have a time frame on this concrete company that's going to fix the drive?
When I spoke with them earlier, well, it was earlier this week when I spoke with them, they were telling me they're looking at maybe a week to 2 weeks out. But I haven't heard anything back on a definite for sure date. And I've been working on this for a few weeks trying to find a concrete person, and I've been talking with Jerry about it. But a lot of the people that I've called really don't want to fool with it because it's such a small job. But I would rather have an outside contractor do it than us at the city do it, and it not be to the specifications of the people, because we don't deal with concrete on a daily basis. I mean, we're not, concrete people.
By the end of next week, if you hadn't heard anything, can you contact them back and see what the status
Oh,
is?
yes, ma'am. I'm planning on contacting them first of next week.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, any other requests, suggestions, comments, concerns on anything before we move into the department reports?
Back up on, since you asked, back up on the police chief application. I hear an echo. I know Ray, myself, the mayor, Ray, and Nathan Driver looked at all the applications. Would it not be a good idea for those two to set in on our review of the applications and give us their input on them as well?
I have no problem with that if you would like to give them a call, and I know that they're both very busy, so they may not be available when we do that. But ultimately now it's been narrowed down. It's the council's responsibility now to move forward on the hiring.
Okay.
I don't think it could be inappropriate to give them the invite. If they choose to do it, then that's good. If they choose not to, it's fine too.
This is one last thing I'll have. I don't know if y'all were contacted or not, but I was contacted about houses around the ambulance service there. Noise at night and dogs running around. So Mayor, you might get with the chief and talk about that a little bit. It's I don't know. I think we have a noise standard. I'm not sure, but
we do, and that's not the only area of town that has had problems. What I have actually recommended to some of the citizens at this point, if I'm just going to be blunt honest about it. We can only fine in our courts $50. And I feel like there's a lot of folks that thumb their nose at the $50 fine, and they just, so, well, I'm going to do what I want to. You're only going to fine me $50, and I can pay 2 or 3 of those and still have fun having fun with you. So I have recommended to the citizens that they go down to the Sumner County Sheriff's Department, pay a visit to the clerk's office, and take out a warrant, a state warrant that issues basically has a minimum fine of $250, but they'll have to go to General Sessions Court to testify. And also I have told the citizens, you have seen what is happening. You have camera footage, video footage, pictures, videotape of what's happened, where our police officers may not actually see that. They didn't witness it. So at any time, a citizen can go down and take the appropriate action, and then the sheriff's department will come up and either serve a warrant, serve a summons, or ever how it's deemed appropriate. And that may get their attention a little more than what we are able to do as the city here. So
You know, whether you agree with that or disagree with it, that's kind of the approach that I'm taking with several of our citizens now that are having those problems because if you have someone, and I've worked shift work before in my career, if you've got someone that is doing all sorts of manner and creating a disturbance, our code is really pretty lenient. Right now, it says after 11 p.m. A lot of folks go to bed at 9:30 or 10 or 10:30. So when you get into the 11 o'clock hour and they press it to 11:30 or 12, that can be troublesome. So that's kind of where we stand on it right now, Councilman.
Well, that helps me. That's education because I didn't know what to tell them. So I appreciate you telling me that. And,
You know, really, there's not much else you can do with it. I'm not sure if the legislature, that'll be a John Bradley question. I don't know if there's anything else that we can even do other than that. Is Chief Flatt still with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he is up at the next item.
Department report.
Hello, Mayor.
Good evening, Chief.
How are you, sir?
Good. We received your reports, and I don't know if everyone got everything or not. I know you have some other reports that you're going to be sending out after the holiday. So the floor is yours.
Yes, sir, Mayor and council member. This has been a short, some type of little rough week. Our codes and animal control, Miss Wolf is had a issue that she has been pulled away from her job title this week and was wasn't able to get that report out as I normally do or normally have, and also the stats from the ECC. I will have them ready. I will hand deliver them to each one of y'all before the next council meeting, or I will send y'all an email of those two reports where y'all have 2 or 3 days at least to look at them and go over them in case you have any questions that will come up in our regular council meeting scheduled for July the 16th.
Chief Flatt, can I just insert there, if you get those to Keisha by next Friday, she can include them in the council package.
That will be fine. I will make sure that happens, Ms. Carter.
Okay, any other questions for the chief? Chief, do you have anything else?
No, sir. I think everything's taken care of, Mayor.
Okay. We appreciate you sticking around.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
Chief Jenkins, you want to try it again? See if you got audio?
Yeah.
We're not getting anything. I appreciate you trying. Appreciate you sticking with us. Eric?
Sir.
Okay, anything else that you would like to add? I see your water loss report, and I know you've been working diligently with the contractors out on the water line extensions. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, I have a couple things, which is anybody got any questions about my report, my monthly report that I emailed? Did everybody get it? Been working on the water line extension out on Raincoach Road, and the contractor called me today. after I left work, actually just right before I got up here, and they're having trouble getting
Okay. Or you can just.
on the easement
I said, or
all the
just
way
walk
down
that.
to
Switch
the
that.
Clark Hollow Road where they're tying in at. And they
Walk it back.
have asked for an easement from the property owner there at the end of Rabe Coach Road. Well, the property owner said that they would give them an easement across their property to where that they could tie into our water source on Clark Hollow.
Yeah, I've got it noted, so I'll
But
try
they
to.
wanted a tap in order for them to do the
Hang
easement.
on just a minute, hang on just a minute, Aaron. Keisha, could you mute yours? We're having trouble hearing Aaron. Okay, try it now, Aaron.
What did he say?
He said, can you mute yours?
Oh.
All right, can you hear me now?
You got it.
All right, so the property owner at the end of Rabe Coates was going to allow the contractor an easement to tie into the line on Clark Hollow because of it's solid rock from pretty much where this person's property starts all the way down until you get to the end of Rabe Coates Road at Clark Hollow. And the contractor, he said there's no way that he can tie that in the way that it's drawn up. So he asked the gentleman if they would give him an easement, or a lady. I think it's two people are involved anyways, but they said they would agree to an easement for one tap. And he said that he didn't mind putting in the tap if the city would waive the tap fee for the customer. He said he'll pay for all of his materials and he'll do the labor of putting in the tap, and it's actually got to be bored across the road. But he's just asking the city to waive the $3,000 tap fee. These people do not, sorry, somebody just tried to call me. These people do not qualify for an LMI tap. And so he said he agreed to do that. And that's the only way that they're going to allow the easement for him to be able to tie in to the line on Clark Hollow. So he asked me to talk to the council and see if the city would waive the tap fee as long as he did all the work and paid all of the material costs and everything for the tap.
So what do you think? We'll put it on the agenda?
All right, Aaron, tell us what the benefit of tying in that line would be for you all, for the system.
Pretty much to supply water to it. What it is it needs to tie in at the end of Clark Hollow, or at the end of Rabe Coates on the Clark Hollow, and then at the other end of Rabe Coates on the 52 side. And what it's doing is it's actually going to be feeding water from both directions. So in order for it to have adequate water, we really need to tie it in because it is such a long line. I don't
That's
think
a requirement for the grant, in the grant process.
In the grant that we got, the way that the engineer had it drawn up was to tie in there, but it was to go down the county's easement on Rabe Coates Road. And when he got actually down there on the easement, that's when he hit solid rock. The engineers didn't, I guess, allow or they didn't realize that it was going to be solid rock right there for such a long distance. And once he gets down there, the way that our line is actually across the creek, and once he comes down Rabe Coates and he crosses, he's going to have to cross that creek. Well, it's kind of a ledge there, probably maybe 6 feet, and he's going to have to drop the water line down and then go under the creek and then come back up to tie into the line that's running along Clark Hollow. And he's not real sure that he can do that, is what he's pretty much told me. He said that in his words, he said there's no way that he can tie into it without getting the easement from these people. And they agreed to the easement, but under that stipulation. So we would lose the tap fee, but the city wouldn't be out the labor and the material cost. But we would gain the revenue from the water sold over the years, but that would be it.
Okay.
Aaron, do they have to do any re-engineering of the line because of that change?
Yes. Jimmy, I believe, if I'm correct on this, I spoke with him a little bit, and to my understanding, Jimmy has already been working on that. I think it's just mainly drawing it up differently so that the drawings match how the line is actually going to be ran, because he already had to give me one change. I think a couple of days ago I met with him, I believe it was Tuesday, and he gave me a change that he had that they had already had to make in the way that it's actually laid out versus the way that they originally drew it up.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I say put it on the agenda to discuss the waiving the water tap fee.
Okay. Just out of curiosity, how far are they going to have to go over these folks' property off of the right of way?
From what I could tell, just in the rough drawing of the contractor, it's going to be quite a ways, because he's pretty much going to have to go a pretty good distance on up further up the creek in order to be able to get to a flat spot to cross the creek instead of where that cliff is and to where it's not solid rock. I don't know an exact, and I will have to get in touch with him because he didn't even know the landowner's name. And I'll have to get in touch with him and get the more information from him as well for the meeting.
Now, will the county have to do some kind of legal documentation for the easement?
Yes.
We have to do it.
Jimmy Hires has been working on that as well.
Okay, good.
Well, I know for a fact they're probably hoping that that bedrock is not real big.
Yeah.
Okay, what else you got?
I have a little bit about the trash. I know y'all had spoke earlier about trash in different places, but the amount of trash that we've been getting as of lately has increased, and it's increased quite a bit. I'm having people tell me that there's been neighbors and things of that such that's having family members bring trash in. I've been looking into it a little bit, trying to work with Keisha and Amanda to see if they could find anything out exactly. I know that it had been talked about before in work studies in the past that we were to implement a limit on the trash. But with what research we've done, we can't find anything on it, that it was ever actually brought before the council and voted on to set an actual limit. I've actually spoke with some of the surrounding cities, Gallatin, Portland, Lafayette, and things like that. And for the most part, they just allow one can. Gallatin, their charge is $12 per can, and you can get up to 3 cans. So if you had 2 cans, that's $24. 3 cans is 36. They do offer to be able to purchase a can through them, and it's a 96-gallon can that is actually compatible with the garbage truck. I've actually spoke with a gentleman that were taking the garbage truck to get the flippers put on it, and I spoke to him about cans as well, and he's supposed to be getting me a sample can if the city would like to possibly look at purchasing these cans and having them available for the citizens. We could go that route, or we could just say that they have to purchase their own can. I know at Lowe's and Home Depot is the cheapest places that I found them. They're 96 gallon, and they're called toters. And they're $99 at Lowe's and Home Depot. One of them was $99.97. One of them was like $99.98. So through Gallatin, if you purchase your can through Gallatin, it's $56 per can. And then Portland, when I spoke with them, their garbage rate is $18, and you're allowed up to 2 cans on that $18. If you want 3 cans or more, the price doubles per can. So if you had 3 cans, you're looking at $36 versus the 18. They sell their cans also. They offer customers their cans at $70 a can for the first can, and then their price goes up if you buy an additional can. After speaking with the gentleman today from Stringfella, where we're getting the flippers put on at, he said that that he deals with this quite a lot, especially with smaller towns. And he said that the best thing to do would be to get everybody on the same basic can. That way you have less trouble in the future, because I know in the future we're going to want to move on to an automated truck with a sidearm, and that would be less trouble with all of that whenever we go to change over to that. I'm not asking that we raise the price of the trash bill here. I know ours is $13 and some change, $13.25, I believe. And you know, if we offered the cans for the citizens to purchase up front, you know, if we could get them at a discounted rate, if we bought so many, we're looking at roughly 900 customers. So, and there's several people that already have cans like these that will work fine with the flippers. But I think it would also help with the appearance. These cans also are on wheels, so you can roll them to the end of your driveway. Once the garbage truck leaves, or you get home from work, or what have you, you can roll it back to your house, and you know, it's out of the way. They're cleaner, they look cleaner. It's less back work for our guys as far as trying to pick these cans up and dump them. You know, if the customers, you know, we have several customers that, you know, ask us if we'll dump the cans every so often just because something gets thrown in it. You know, as of right now, we're only supposed to pick up bags and boxes. And, you know, we're running into the thing now that people are getting these ginormous bags that Charles is like 6'4". He literally has been picking up some bags that are taller than him that he can't even get into the garbage truck by himself because these bags are so huge. And, you know, when you got a man that's 6'4" and he's 300 something pounds, you know, and he's struggling to pick up a trash bag, we need to do something. We already had Jacob that he's out right now, from issues with his back, and that stems from the garbage truck as well. I feel like we need to go ahead and do something, get an ordinance made, whether it's 1 can or 2 cans, we need to get a limit on this. I feel like getting these flippers, once we get them on, that'll help with, lifting them up, getting them in there, getting them dumped. Everybody will be able to get their can dumped that way, and it won't be any loose trash, laying around or getting blown around, because right now people will throw loose trash in there, and when we pick, and then they'll throw 1 bag on top of it. Well, you got half a can full of loose trash. Well, our guys, we'll grab the bag that's on top, we'll throw it in there, or the 3 or 4 bags, and you still got half a can that's sitting there full of trash. Well, the neighbor's dog, he comes down the road and he smells something he likes in that can, he knocks it over, and then you've got trash for half a mile on your road, and it's just, I think if we can implement getting these cans, whether the customers purchase them or whether the city tries to do something with that, I really feel like, setting a limit on these things, is also going to benefit. I'm trying to look into it a little bit. If any of y'all have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them.
So I guess they, these cities, if you have the trash can, they buy it up front and just pay the $70 or whatever. They don't allow them to pay on an installment plan. You got to pay it all up front.
From what I spoke with them today, that's what I gathered, is they pretty much, they offer it up front. Now, something that I had thought about, if the city would, think about that, because, a lot of these citizens have lived here forever, and they're used to having the small cans and things like that. If the city, could purchase, and I'm not sure what kind of rate we can get on these cans, but if the city could purchase these in bulk and then maybe just add $1 a month, to the bill, $1 is not a lot per month, but once the city eventually will get their money back out of the can, and then after maybe that first time or something, if it needs replaced, it'd be up to them. And the cans that I was looking at, I believe have like a 7-year warranty on them.
Of course, you're going to lose some. They're going to get one. They're going to be gone, move out. They'll take their trash can with them. So you got to look at everything.
Right. And then, you would just offer whoever moves back, they would be responsible for their can then, whether they added it to their bill or whether they bought it up front or however you wanted to kind of do that. I just feel like we need to do something, because we're pulling up to some of these houses and they literally have small trailers, like a lawnmower trailer or something, and it's completely loaded with trash. I mean, there's 10, 15 bags on these trailers, and as of right now, I can't tell them, we're not going to take that, because they're paying their, $13 a month for garbage, and, they've got 20 bags a week. I don't understand. I've got 3 kids living at home and a grandson, and me and my wife, and I don't see how somebody can have 20 bags of trash a week. And it's some houses, there's like that every week. So, I really feel like the city's being taken advantage of, more or less.
I think that's another communication. Expectations are that only the residents' trash goes at the road. Will that do any good? I don't know, but at least they'll know.
Right.
It's interesting to hear you talk about all this, Aaron. I was fortunate to be a resident of Gallatin when they made that change. They used to
have backdoor pickup. You just set your trash out in the can by your back door, and if you had 1 can or 2 cans, and they come through with a big mobile toter and come down behind the houses and picked up all your trash. And if I'm not mistaken, when I first moved there, they did it twice a week, and then they cut back to once a week. And the next step was to cut to once a week, and they provided the mobile toter. And they had this mobile tote, and you would roll it to the street for the pickup on the day that you were assigned. It was interesting to see the back roar of citizens when they had to start taking the trash to the street like that, but they got used to it, and that's been many years ago, and most people have forgotten that story by now.
Yeah.
What was interesting about it, most of the people had maybe a 20-gallon can. I'm guessing that's probably the size of what I have over at the house. And, you know, usually I have on a given week 2 bags, and sometimes, you know, there may be more. I know in my meetings that I've had with the other mayors right now, everywhere in Middle Tennessee has the same problem. Our invoice for our collection went up 25% last month. You were talking about the amount, that's what it came to. It was a 25% increase. So I follow that every month simply because the Solid Waste Committee for the Middle Tennessee Mayor's Caucus, they're very concerned about the landfill in Murfreesboro being full. The way that it's looking by the time that Doug and Chandra end their term, that facility may be on a timetable to be closing. So it's something that is serious for almost everyone right now. So, but I was just thinking about it while you were talking. There I have that let's say 15 or 20 gallon unit that's pretty small, and you're talking about the 96 gallon unit. I was sitting there thinking, well, you know, I could take 2 or 3 of mine and throw in that one, and it wouldn't be hardly anything at all.
Right.
But it was my understanding, and you said you had gone through the code searching for this, but it was my understanding that a few years ago that it was changed to be a 5-bag limit, and that's the premise I've been going on since I've been mayor, that there's a 5-bag limit, and it had to be in some kind of a container, whether it be a bag or a box or something. Your guys are really good. I mean, the guys you've got right now have been fantastic in the fact that if there has been trash on the ground, they've taken the time to pick it up. But that time is starting to show because it takes minutes away to pick up that extra, and you work hard to keep the city clean, and it when you leave trash laying out like that, it looks bad. You know, we can try to work with the mattresses and the furnitures and the sofas and odds and ends that people put by the road. But when it comes to, if they're doing 20 bags a week, then it is time for the council to step in and put some limits on it. And if we do have people that are putting out that many bags, then they need to be paying the extra charge for it. So I think what you said earlier about how Portland and Gallatin were doing it is probably something good for our council to look at. Because if we continue to let it go on another 4 or 5 years, it's only going to get worse.
Right. And I also, I feel like if we can do it by the can, I know there's certain people that still will never have more than 1 bag. And just like at your house, you know, you very rarely fill your little trash can up. You know, and they make smaller cans that will fit on those flippers, but I feel like personally they're pointless. But we get a lot of complaints about, well, you didn't dump my can. You didn't dump my can. Why is this in there? And it's like, and they'll be like, well, it's in a bag and it's in a small grocery sack at the bottom of a 96-gallon can. Well, you know, you got to flip the can over on its side and crawl in there to get it. And I feel like if we put this limit on here, you know, of just one can, because some of these people, they'll have 2 or 3 cans sitting out there and they're completely full of loose trash because we're not dumping them. Well, then they'll have 4 or 5 bags sitting beside those cans because they don't want to bag their trash up and put it back in the can for us to, you know, throw it in the truck. So I just feel like it'll help in the end. It'll help us keep everything clean. And the only thing that Keisha has been able to find with her searching and things as far as the limit was, it was brought up at a work study, but then it was never actually put to a vote by the council is what she can find on her computer and stuff that we've looked through. I'm not saying it's not out there. That's just what we were able to find, what research we did on it. And if there is something out there, if somebody could point me in the right direction, I would be glad to, you know, I'd love to see it so I can at least start implementing what we do already have in place.
Any comments or concerns?
You said it was the Toter brand?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I think I've looked it up, I think. And it looks to have, the one I'm looking at has a 10-year warranty.
Okay.
So,
I knew it was several years.
Yeah.
And I was actually, after I had been looking at the Toter brand, and then actually when I called Stringfellow to talk about getting the flippers on, that's when he and I got to talking about cans as well. And he said he brought up the Toter brand then as well, and I had already been looking at them, and he said that they're made different than other trash cans. He said you can almost flatten them out completely and they'll pop back out. He said they're very, very strong cans as far as not tearing up and not breaking and cracking and things of that nature.
I'll say the thing I like about it is the lid is attached, is what it looks like. You don't lose the lid.
Yeah, you don't lose the lid, and our guys are not getting yelled at because they didn't put the lid back on the can.
Okay. Is the council in favor of buying the first can? I will say that what I was telling about Gallatin earlier, they provided the first can. Each can comes with a serial number, and they issued that serial number to the residents. If you wanted to purchase a second can, it was like Aaron said, you could go to the Public Works Department and put in to purchase those. It sounds like now they may not be doing the mass purchase, that they're leaving it up to the citizens to purchase that can. So what does the council think about this? You want to discuss it a little bit more? Or do we want to try to come up with some documents that says that there is a 5-bag limit now? How do you want to proceed on this?
I'd like to know some more numbers on the cans, the actual cost of the cans, and then we discuss whether we want to provide the first can. And if they want 2 cans, then they can purchase that second can. And if we're going to provide the first can, maybe you know, the garbage pickup might have to be a little more than $13, just to make that adjustment. I'd like to discuss it, and we do need to look and research if we can further to see if there is a 5-bag limit. If there is one that's been voted on, we need to enforce it.
There was a limit. I remember that discussion one time. I was thinking 7, but the mayor said 5. But there was a limit. It wasn't 20. I know that.
You know, and I think we probably have a lot of influx, as Aaron was saying, that family members that possibly do not even live in our area are bringing their trash and putting it out. I don't know that. I haven't witnessed it personally, but I suspect that it is happening. As the old saying goes, we were born yesterday, but we weren't born the day before yesterday. So I think that probably happens a lot. And it's no doubt with the cost of solid waste increasing, that cost is going to come back to us. And we've not had an increase. Gosh, I don't even know the last time that Westmoreland had an increase. I think it was back when Mr. Woods was doing the pickup for us when we didn't have a sanitation truck. So and Freedom May, I'm not sure if he was still picking up when you became a recorder or not, but when I left the recorder's office, we were actually contracting to him because we didn't have a truck at that time.
Right.
Yeah, we're hearing you, Eric. We just need to do more research. I want to help you out, and I want to do what's right. So do more research and bring us some more facts, and we'll discuss it more. Yes.
Okay.
I think Aaron's right on this. It's been talked about over the years numerous times, but I don't know that it's actually went to the council as a vote. I think it was discussed in a work study, and we said, yeah, we'll limit to X amount of bags. I don't remember the number, but I don't think anything was ever voted on. I know that we had issues when there was time for leaves to be picked up. There is a limit on it for leaves, I think. But if you're saying that the city has 900 customers, is that what you said?
Right at that. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And say the city has to pay $50 a can to purchase these, and I believe they're at least $50 a can.
Yes, ma'am.
If not more. You're talking about $45,000 right up front for the city to buy one for every customer. Where's that money coming from?
That come from the sanitation fund.
Yeah.
I know.
That'll be part of your research, Aaron.
Yes, and I will be talking to the gentleman about prices and how many we would have to order at a time. If we could maybe, put it out there if the citizens wanted to buy their can, see where, where we kind of stand numbers wise with what it's going to cost us to actually purchase the cans if we buy them in bulk like this. I know just by looking at the numbers, Gallatin sells theirs for $56 through Gallatin, and then Portland's is $70. So I'm assuming that maybe Gallatin gets a better deal because they bought more or they buy more cans because of the higher population. So I don't know what the price would be for us, being the smaller city. But I will keep digging on this, and I will get y'all some better numbers, and we'll kind of go from there.
I assume they all have some kind of number on them where you could track them.
They should. I'm going to make sure, but I know the ones that I've seen in Gallatin and surrounding areas, they do. They also offer them in different colors. I asked him if red was a color that they offer them in. He said yes, but he recommended the gray or the green because they don't show dirt as easy.
I know when I was working at Red Bull and some, and helping them out, they furnished their first can. Then they had problems with these renters that would move off, take their cans, and they're going to be out another can for that resident, for that house. So, and there was serial numbers on them also.
And that's exactly what the gentleman said that I talked to today. He said that exact thing. He said the bad thing about providing the first can or providing a can, period, is renters. He said because he said renters will always stick you with water bills and they'll take the trash can.
That's right. There's a lot of factors to look at.
Oh, I guess you have to start charging the deposit for the trash can, huh?
Maybe that may be the way we need to go.
Okay, I think we've decided that we're going to look at that and try to be aware that we're looking at some of this. I think a lot of it is just communication. You know, we will probably get some feedback from the community after this meeting now that we've discussed it. If there's some chatter that can be put out on Facebook about it, we need to get the citizens' input in it and see what they have to say, because it has a direct reflection upon what they're going to have to pay for trash in the future. Okay.
And also one more thing, it just, like I said before, there are a lot of these cans that are already out there. A whole lot of the citizens already have these style cans. Maybe not that exact brand, but the dumpable cans. So it may, I mean, if we get feedback from the citizens, there may not be as many people that actually need them as you know, what we're thinking.
I think we need to get more information on this before we start asking for feedback, because they're wanting to know how much can is, how many limited, and blah, blah, blahs before they start giving us their input, because we won't know what to tell them now.
Right.
Well, if Keisha has some of the notes from a work study from previous when it was discussed, we may can use that as a starting point, and we'll move forward from that. Obviously, it's been brought to our attention now, so we know there is a problem.
Thank you.
What else you got, Aaron?
I believe that's it. I say it's getting dark outside.
Okay. Miss Keisha?
Okay, we have a grant coming up in August. It's the driver safety grant. So I'm gonna email that over to everyone, and it's got some suggestions on things that you could purchase with that money. Just to kind of get some feedback and see if we want to apply for this grant instead of kind of it sneaking up on us like the other one did. So I'll email that over to everyone. And then next week, Miss Debbie's going to be out for several days, and you know, Amanda's our backup, but she's out as well. So we were looking to ask Kelly to come in and fill in for those days. I can't hear you. And so we just need to know kind of what she's going to be paid. I know with Dina, we were paying her $10 an hour, or that's what she was getting. The company that we had her through, they were getting a little bit more than that. But with Kelly, I mean, she knows what she's doing, and she's not going to have to be trained or anything. She's basically coming in and going to work just like one of us every day. So just need to know kind of what we're going to pay her to fill in those few days for us.
Taking it under consideration that a raise went into effect with everyone she's very well qualified. So if the council goes along with it, I would set it more than what the minimum would have been at 10. I think she deserves better than that, but you don't need to put it above what any of your folks that are there
Right.
at City Hall are making. Of course, the City Hall staff didn't get the raise, but everyone else got, so we'll keep that in mind too.
And we're paying her, we're not paying
Right.
service. So
Yeah,
we
we're
can
not
get all-
going through a service.
What would you think, Keisha? Did you have a number in mind? How much we should pay her?
I
Put you
was
on.
thinking more like 12 or so, but I mean,
That's what I was thinking, 12.
I'm good with
Have
that.
you done talk to her?
yes, I did talk to her to see if she would be interested in doing it and available to do it. Again, because, you know, it's just for a couple of days, and if we get someone else, we're going to spend those 2 days training them. They're not really going to be much help.
Agree.
And might add that there may be a possibility that there will be more time involved, right?
That is correct, yes, depending on how things go next week.
Yeah.
I'm good with
I'm
it.
in agreement.
Okay.
The $12.
I think that's good.
So that's all I have.
Okay. In recapping, it looks like we'll have multiple services put on the agenda for our next regular meeting. Ordinance number 072020-1. Also open the bids for paving of Sumner Drive. The tap for the Clark Hollow Road Rape Coats tie-in. And then we will have the second reading of the ordinance for the rezoning and the public hearing on the agenda. What else have I missed?
The safety partner.
Safety partner, yeah,
you
Voting
mentioned-
on that.
resolution.
Gotcha.
Look like they got the same number, two of them. Well, one's a resolution, one's an ordinance. Okay.
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
And the other items we were just going to discuss at the next work study, right?
That is correct.
Yes.
And we'll remind everyone of the special call meeting on the, so we all wrote that down. What's that date?
7th,
July
Seven.
6th.
6.
7th.
Yeah, turn my calendar back on here. So did we have any other information that has come in, any emails of questions from anyone, Keisha, while we were talking?
The only thing we got was a concern with, you know, if we're going to go with trash cans, asking for that money up front. I mean, for some people, that $50 or whatever it is, you know, we have a lot of citizens that live on a fixed income and they wouldn't be able to, you know, get that. So if we're making that mandatory, what are they going to do? That was the only
Okay.
concern that came through.
Okay, and we're probably several months from making a decision on that. So we're just now breaking ice on it. So we'll start the discussions on it. Aaron's going to get some more quotes and things. As I said, we'll probably get some more comments from folks here very soon about it. And while we were talking about it, I had the vision of Tony looking down Park Street and there being mobile toters all down in front of all the businesses. So, with that, we're adjourned. Thank you and have a good evening.
Bye.
And